When I went to Simeon's FOMO sale room this week, I saw this for sale. I thought, I've never owned one of these, never been on my radar. Let's get one. I'm going to build you a one-off special real-life Bronco, then we'll take it for a drive and we'll give it a rating, see if it's worth your money. I hope I'm going to drive this a bit, so I'm going to give it full armour and all the performance mods like the brakes. On the bumper, I'm looking for a cut-down bumper for the build that I am going for, and ideally an exposed winch rather than a hidden winch, which the standard car seems to have. And this stock crawler bar seems sort of ideal, not exactly because it has the extra bar that I don't want, but it is good below the bumper line. As you saw, there's quite a nice variety of different bumpers there for extreme off-roading. This one will fit my needs the most, so we'll turn our attention to the back. I really want a stripped off bumper just replaced with bars, but I can't have that, so I think I would just go for adding the bars. Max out the engine. Moving on to the exhaust. I couldn't spot the exhaust on the pictures of the car we're trying to make, so I just want the most subtle of the exhaust, which I think is just stock. And for the grille, I wouldn't mind some inner indicators, but I do not want the inner headlights, so I'm going to go for the bars on the grille, and I could actually go horizontal or vertical because I'm going for a crate type grille, so easy there. I want a power bulge on the hood. I want it the same colour as the rest of the car, and I can see we've got these small vented bulges. They will have to do. Can't quite work out what colours this car actually has, coming of course straight from the Simeon's FOMO special warehouse, so maybe I should just go down and at least get rid of the livery first. Yeah, so the primary one is going to work the best there. The lights, I'm going to just leave the yellow stock lights. It's a older vehicle which we'll talk about later. Number plate of course is very personal. For respray, there's a specific blue that I'm going to want for the bulk of the body, so it's just a case of zipping through the metallic blues to find it. Yeah, that Saxon blue works really well. I do spend quite a time with the pearlescents, but I'm not sure they do really what I want. I don't want it to be too bright, so we'll leave the pearlescents alone and just move on. For the secondary colour, I'm looking for a contrasting colour. The distribution of the colours on this car is not far off some of the older Broncos. The colour that's on it, you know, the beechwood brown is not bad. I want to go slightly lighter, not white. I think cream will give me the look that I want here. Onto the roof. I really want to get rid of those LED lights, but I can't. But what I can do is add what I do need, which is a cab. Now I'm going secondary cab to make it cream, and the reason why is that the cars I'm going for often have that bit in the secondary colour, even though the one I'm building sort of doesn't. You'll see later. So a secondary cab is going to look very good on there. I don't want any skirts for this jacked up off-road one-off special I'm going for, so I'm a bit stuffed here. I think we'll just stay with the stock as being the least skirty. Now, nobody lowers the suspension for an off-road car unless they're mad, but the suspension on the standard Riata is even higher than on the build I'm going for, so in fact I am going competition to make it more realistic. Transmission I'm maxing, turbo I'm leaving out because I don't want it to make turbo noises. I spend a long time on the wheels. I'm going to have to edit this, but basically the concave steely in the off-road category are going to be close to the ones I want. The stock are also close to the ones I want, but I do need to be able to paint the wheels black for my build, and of course the stock ones are forced chrome, so concave steely painted black. And then moving to the windows, I could go without any windows tints at all, or I could just go light smoke. There does look to be some tints in some way on the photos I've got, so I'll go light smoke. Now this is our build. That's great, but what have I made? Well, let's take it out and have a look. Don't tell me you never do this. I do it every time. I just can't help myself. Anyway, the Riata is based on a Ford Bronco. GTA Wiki says it's this 2016 rendering that was made for Bronco6g.com, And you know, I can see where they got that from. There are a lot of similarities to it, but it's also got a lot of similarities to some of the much earlier Broncos. So for my build, I spent a bit of time on Google. So, meet Gilbert. Gilbert is a one-off Bronco based on an 87 Bronco built by Broncos R Us. Very special, lifted, massive tyres, 5-litre adapted Mustang engine, and a host of other mods, which you can read about in the link which I'll put below. I think the general shape of the Riata suits this 87 lifted Bronco so well, and it's the nearest that I could find to make mine a real world one. If you look at the colour distribution on a standard 87 Bronco, you can see how the bed is secondary. In fact, so is a lot of the rest of the cab area. Gilbert has rather more glass in the area, but this is why I went cream there rather than blue. So let's move on now to how this truck drives. I'm really rather pleased with how it drives. It's obviously an off-roader, so if we start with off-road, the big extending springs have been judged quite well on the car, so it doesn't get flung all over the place like some off-roaders can do. It deals with the bumps pretty well as long as you keep the speed something respectable. And of course it's always great fun seeing those completely separate axles held on almost only by the springs bouncing around underneath the car. So no problems off-road. I'm not saying you buy this of course instead of a Drauga or anything like this, but if you do like to go bouncing around the hills near Los Santos, you'll be happy with this. That's great, but I think we should also now get it on the road. On the road the car is pretty competent. Its natural balance is understeer, and if you know me, I hate understeer. However, it's very easily neutralised on the car by simply lifting off the gas, which digs in those front tyres, the rears come loose, and you get a nice controllable drift. The performance on the car, whilst not stunning, is perfectly acceptable I think for the sort of vehicle it is, and you don't sit there thinking it's too slow. It also sounds pretty good as well, so I would say overall you've got a rather good package here with nice noise, fun handling, good off-road and perfectly acceptable through the town. I think it's time to give the vehicle some star ratings. For looks I'm going in at just 3 stars to be honest. There seems to be a mix of different Broncos in here. If I was perhaps American and knew more about these things, I might find other influences from other cars and things in here, but definitely a slight mix up, and it does take a while to find something like Gilbert here that you can build and be reasonably happy with. For driving I'm coming in at 4 stars. Like, what? 4 stars? But yeah, the reason is that for what it is, I think it drives very well. I only give 5 stars to things at the top of the tree in their class. But yeah, this is great fun, just lifting off the throttle, drifting, listening to the noise. For what it is, yeah, 4 stars. Now, value for money. It's only 380,000, and in today's economy, that's not very much at all. I think this is a really good looking addition to an off-road collection, or perhaps even some form of Ford collection. It's cheap. It's only going to hit you about 600k if you put all the options on like I did. So I think it's actually 5 stars value for money. So 3, 4 and 5 stars, very respectable. Something I really think is worth picking up this week from Simeon's FOMO Motors. If you found this enjoyable or useful, please do consider giving me a like. It would really help the channel, and thank you for that. A sub of course if you like real cars in GTA would be great, and otherwise thank you so much for watching.